Hey guys, just a reminder, this is not official medical advice or such. Please seek an appointment with a licensed medical provider. Welcome back, everybody, to a part 2 episode with nutrition coach Lucas Schmidt on Dive Into Diet on Performance Medicine TV. We're talking Christmas classics. I'm just going to go ahead and warn everybody before you listen to part 2. Come in objectively. I know emotions.
Check the emotions at the door.
Emotions run high with our Christmas classics.
Yeah. So I concluded last week with pumpkin pie.
Yes.
Right. I gave it an F plus. So
Thank
I'm going to start.
The plus.
Yeah, the plus is something. That beta carotene just cinched it. I'm going to start with pecan pie. I gave it a D in its traditional form. And I classified it as amazing, which is great, but it does get a D. Amazing D. It's high glycemic again. This is the pitfall of desserts. High glycemic, so your blood sugar, it's just wreaking havoc. And sadly, most people make their pecan pie with corn syrup. If you look at Betty Crocker's recipes or any of the traditional recipes, it's all corn syrup in there with sugar as well, brown sugar and things. Very high in fat and sugar, not great combo. Now, what makes it a D, though, is the pecans. You're getting protein in there. You're getting some trace minerals and vitamins, maybe a little fiber to counteract the sugar. But so, yeah, the nuts kind of elevated a little bit. Now, I did make a note. There are easy low-carb versions of this dessert that elevate it to around a C or a B. I've made one before. Now, it's expensive to do because you need allulose. But essentially, you replace all your sugar with allulose, leave out the corn syrup. You don't need it. Make your crust with almond and coconut flour, and it's great. High fat, of course, but low glycemic and a decent amount of protein. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about good old classic grandma's pecan pie, and it gets a D. So moving on to Sister Schubert's rolls. So,
are these like the Hawaiian rolls?
Well, I'm sure they have that. This is this is classic, the aluminum tray that comes with the pre-shaped rolls that you just throw them in the oven. Now I make them. This isn't to brag. I make our rolls for the family from scratch. So they're not healthy, but they're healthier because I'm making
healthier.
Yeah, I'm controlling the ingredients, but. The Sister Schubert rolls are a classic. A lot of people just buy them because they're easy and they're delicious. They're great. They get an F because they're high glycemic. They're made with junky wheat, fortified with a bunch of crap added to it, bleached usually. There's the tiniest amount of protein, and they are virtually empty of essential nutrients, and they're incredibly highly processed. So, but delicious. They're delicious.
But delicious.
And that's all I have to say about Sister Schubert. Stuffing / dressing, it's more of a Thanksgiving, but some people do it at Christmas. I gave it a D+.
I love stuffing.
Yeah, me too.
I love it. I love it on Thanksgiving. I love it on Christmas.
It doesn't get an F. It gets a D+ because it contains vegetables, which, there's something there. Lowers the sugar content.
It's bready. It's just very...
Yeah, slightly lower glycemic than plain bread because you've got more to it. You're not just eating bread. You're eating a mixture of things. It contains chicken broth usually, and therefore probably a little collagen. That's a good thing. And it is low in most trace nutrients. So there is that. Next is one of my favorites, and you're not going to like it because you told me last time that you're crazy and don't like cranberry. So cranberry orange relish. Some people out there may have no idea what I'm talking about, but others probably do. This is like cranberry sauce, but it's actually made with real cranberries. So you get fresh cranberries, fresh apples, and orange peel, and you chop them up really tiny and fine. You could blitz them in a food processor. And you put those in a bowl, and you add to that usually some sort of Jell-O, like strawberry or cranberry. And you pour that in a bundt cake, like the cake with the hole in it, dish, and let it set up in the fridge. And then you turn it out, and it's this Jell-O relish. One of my favorite things in the world. There might be even a little cinnamon in it. I'm not sure. It's like a orange, cranberry, just Christmas flavor. But because it's fresh ingredients, it tastes fresh and clean. It's really refreshing. It's like you don't need to drink water when you're eating it. It's just delicious. I gave it a C minus, actually. It's more desserty, but it's not as sweet as trashy cranberry sauce. And if you didn't watch the last episode, I don't mean that in a demeaning way. Trashy sounds demeaning. I love trashy cranberry sauce from a can. It's a staple for me at Christmas. But it is, it's $1.50, and it slides out like an ant, like a creature out of the can. This is, we'll say elevated. Ugh, I hate using that word. Because it's real cranberries. So real cranberries are fairly low glycemic. They're not very sweet if you've ever eaten a raw cranberry. And orange peel and fresh apples are not half bad for you. They're good for you. So as long as you're not diabetic,
Do people eat this as a dessert, or
no? It's usually I eat it with entree.
Okay.
It's not with the pie. It's usually on the side. So it contains a good amount of antioxidants and vitamin C and fiber from the cranberries and the apples and the orange peel. The negative to it is the Jell-O, because the Jell-O contains a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty decent desserty, fruity, Christmas snack. So the next one is a beverage, actually.
Can I guess?
There's two beverages. Yeah, guess one of them.
It has to be eggnog.
Yeah, eggnog is one of them. I actually didn't make a note on that one. I just thought of it as I was getting to the end. I was like, eggnog, that's a classic. And that's uniquely Christmas. Usually, I don't think it's usually served at Thanksgiving. I could be wrong there. But eggnog, it probably depends on where you get it. I think with beverages, there's a lot of flexibility in there. Beverages are easier to sweeten naturally without artificial sweetener. So you could use stevia or monk fruit. You got a lot of variety there, but let's just go for store-bought, plain old eggnog. Probably, I'm making this up in my brain. Eggnog's traditionally alcoholic as well.
I told Andy this last night. I don't like alcohol in my eggnog.
Okay. So we'll go non-alcohol and regular.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give regular eggnog a D minus.
Okay.
Alcoholic eggnog an F.
Okay.
There's probably trace protein because it's a milk-based egg, isn't it? It's milk and egg based, so you've got some stuff in there. But it's so high in sugar. It is so heavy in sugar. It's a dessert in a cup. There's a reason it's so good. And the alcohol drops it down to an F because alcohol is not good for you. So nutritionally, there's eggnog for you. Now, if somebody wants to post a link in the comments to a healthy, fun eggnog like YouTube how-to, there's probably a lot out there. And hey, you could probably get away with. I bet you there's like kefir eggnog. Using the kefir, the fermented, because it's kind of eggnoggy in itself. You could probably come up with one. I'm not an eggnog fan myself, so I'll leave that to somebody else, but I'm open to it. The next one is hot chocolate.
Okay.
That's kind of that's a Christmas beverage. That's a winter beverage, but, Christmas Eve, drinking a cup of hot chocolate, waiting for Santa, or in the morning. Hot chocolate is also, it really depends on how you make it, because you can make quote unquote healthy hot chocolate with no sugar added.
And I will. I want to put this in here, Lucas. We did an episode where you made healthy hot chocolate. We'll link it in the comments below.
Yeah,
because it's a good how-to for those who want to do a healthy hot chocolate.
And when you make it yourself from scratch, it's so much better. It's thick. Now, I will say, the plain Swiss Miss instant pack tastes great, and making it yourself, it doesn't taste like that. I wouldn't say it's better. I would just say it's different. Traditional hot chocolate, though, is pretty thick and heavy in a fun way. It's very silky and chocolatey. Swiss Miss is thin, but it's great. It tastes so good. But it's really Swiss Miss itself. I'd give it an F+. The only reason I give it a plus is because it's got cocoa in it, and cocoa, it's got some benefits to it. Outside of that, it's just sugar and powdered milk. It's just super high glycemic and not great for you. You could mix the Swiss Miss with like protein powder to make it a D plus, but why?
Why
Ugh.
exactly?
Yeah, not great. Not great. It's amazing for Christmas for your soul, but not great for your body. So that wraps up my list of stuff. That's about all I can think of as the sort of fixins around the Christmas table.
Well, one thing I do want to ask Lucas, as we, we're getting close to the holiday season now. Any, like, we've gone over kind of the classics. Any sort of like psychological, like, how should people approach this season nutritionally? In just a couple sentences, what's your advice here?
Oh, let me think. If you're concerned about overindulging on Christmas Day, just try to relegate it to the one meal. Something you could do is fast all morning and drink coffee, black coffee. And then when you get time to Christmas meal, because you fasted all day, you're actually not going to be able to eat as much. Even if you want to. That happened to me this Thanksgiving. I didn't eat enough early in the day, so I wasn't like warmed up. And my stomach was a little shrunk, so when I sat down to eat my Thanksgiving meal, I actually couldn't eat all that I wanted to. I wanted to stop, which was kind of interesting. So that's one way to build in a little calorie deficit. So then you can kind of eat a good amount. It's hard to eat 2,000 calories in one sitting, unless they're donuts. Then that's easy. So that's one thing you could do. If you're trying to navigate this in a more healthy way, load up more on the protein and the low glycemic foods, but still put a little bit of the other things. Just eat your protein first, and you're less likely to overindulge. But my personal, because I feel like I'm pretty strict all year, I go ham on Christmas.
There you go.
It really depends on what work you've done throughout the year.
Yeah.
So what I wouldn't do is eat a piece of pie and then sit around with guilt and despair because it's Christmas Day. Go ahead and do it. As long as you can shut the valve off. And if you can't, load up on the protein. Just load up on the protein and maybe go for a run that morning.
Yeah.
So I'm more cautious than I used to be about trying to navigate Christmas healthy, because I do think it's important to feed your soul once or twice a year. So.
Absolutely.
And just to enjoy the company of your family. Another thing you can do is try to talk more while you're eating. It'll slow down your eating and you won't be able to eat as much.
That's a good tip.
So talk to your family and your friends.
Talk to your family. Lucas, man, I love you, brother. Thanks for being on here.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Don't go away.